On Monday, Senator Tammy Baldwin toured the facility a week after the Trump administration issued a blanket freeze on federal grants and assistance.
This causes a lot of concern.
2 court orders have temporarily paused the Trump administration's federal freeze, but the uncertainty of what could happen next is causing anxiety at the Opioid Response Center, which Baldwin says could be in jeopardy of losing aid.
They're absolutely terrified about the risk of losing cancer research dollars. She said, quote, she couldn't wrap her mind around it, quote, this insane and cruel road that we are all on now with this new administration, end quote. These are the stories from my constituents. They want to know what's going on in their lives. It's not a parlor game. It's not a think tank exercise. It is their lives. They said to me, quote, even small changes in the federal grant spending will have detrimental impacts to their facility and to their community. A federal funding freeze just exacerbates our ability to deliver care that has been authorized, appropriated, and promised to the operation of our healthcare system.
The point is, I want to make in this moment, this isn't just about blatant waste of your hard-earned money. Programs like this actually weaken the United States' position around the globe. It does not make America the partner of choice for these countries. Let's put it this way. If you're asking someone if they'd rather have chicken or fish, and then they say chicken, and you give them a grant to make a European coffee shop more gender inclusive, they're probably going to turn to another country like China or Russia that is investing in a chicken processing plant that can keep an entire village fed. Programs like this do the exact opposite of what USAID was established to do, expand the United States' soft power.
You know, we got a private citizen right now, you know, walking into the Department of Treasury and demanding all of the data of the citizens of America. That is just wrong. Elon Musk wasn't elected to anything, you know, nor confirmed by any Senate.
With regard to the Department of Education, the question that I had was, even though the Department of Education is under the rubric of the administration, there are statutory requirements. Title I, our disabled children, our low-income students. Title VII, civil rights promises that we're making to students. Title IX, who and what entity was going to administer those mandates? The Higher Education Act, under the rubric of the Department of Education. And all that demanded was a simple answer. Ironically, we were standing in front of doors that said public access, and we were denied public access.
And now, Mayor Mike Johnson wants to walk back his comments about, just from a month ago about a Tiananmen Square type moment where he calls out the Denver Police Department to resist federal agents coming into Colorado and into Denver. And, now he's trying to walk back those statements because we know that we have a crime, we have a violence, and we have a gang problem.
I don't want to hear, with all due respect, that the Trump administration is about law and order. I was in the chambers there on January 6th, and he has pardoned over 200 people who committed a violent coup there. 5 police officers died in the wake of that. 140 injured, and he pardoned them. Tell me he's concerned about law enforcement and going after criminals.
In fact, a member of my staff spoke to Congressional Research Service last year, just trying to get an idea of, when he was working for someone else out here, just to try to get an idea of how many federal regulations there were, and we're basically told that's not even knowable. There's just so many we could not possibly give you a count. So.
He signed your bill. Now you're a law. Oh, yes.
So the first car I drove was my parents' station wagon, probably like a lot of other folks growing up. Those were very common as I was a kid. And that was the car I learned to drive on. And then my mom and dad also had a Suburban that we drove. We had a big family. And I remember I asked my mom and dad to get my license. They said, well, you can't do that until you can back the Suburban into the driveway. And so I did that like in a weekend, just so that I'd be able to get my license.
And what's your favorite car now?
So my favorite car, I got to tell you, the favorite car I ever owned was a 1984 Plymouth Grand Fury, and I owned it in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Mr. Speaker, this is a deeply personal issue for me. I represent parts of Los Angeles County, which has experienced an over 1,000% increase in fentanyl deaths in the last few years. And Mr. Speaker, my most difficult day in my 19 years in elected office was several years ago when I tried to console a constituent, a grieving mother who had lost both of her sons in the same day to fentanyl poisoning. As a father of two boys myself, who were about the same age at the time, I can't imagine how devastating that must have been.
Well, I was glad to see we had a number of Democrats finally get on board with the Halt Fentanyl Act. This is a result of the Biden administration's wide open southern border policies that are really affecting American families. As you mentioned, I've got a mother in my district we heard from recently, Jackie Birding, who lost her son Jacob at 23 of a fentanyl overdose. This is impacting hundreds of thousands of American families across the country, and it is a problem that's just getting worse.
And Sheriff Mike Bouchard and his team are on the front lines. He knows firsthand what's going on in our communities, and he has been successful leading from Southeast Michigan. In May 2024, 500 grams of cocaine, 50 grams of fentanyl, and OxyContin were seized. April 2024, $20,000 in cocaine, fentanyl, and other drugs confiscated. March 2023, 41.5 kilos of fentanyl, enough to kill all 10.3 million Michiganders, were confiscated.